Greetings. Welcome back to another review. It's been a while. Today we're going to compare the Latitude 64 River to the Westside Discs Stag. I want to shout out my sponsor, Trilogy Talk. They've been able to get me these discs so that I can review them and compare them. Right now you can get this Opto Glimmer Midwest Amateur Championship disc rivers on the Trilogy Talk site. They are available and they are some nice pieces of plastic. So we got the River. The River comes in at a speed 7, glide 7, turn of -1 with a fade of 1. Comparing this to the Stag, the Stag comes in at a speed 8, glide 6, turn of -1 with a fade of 2. So all signs point to the Stag being slightly more stable. Now all of these discs are going to be fairly beginner friendly. As an experienced player, I like to use these discs for tunnel shots, like straight shots. But definitely also good for slower arms as well. So let's take a look at them. And here is a look. We have the Latitude 64 Opto Glimmer River on the left and the Westside Disc Stag on the right. The Stag is an 8-speed and the River is a 7-speed. The rim is very manageable. Easy on, I guess, any hands, but smaller hands also very manageable, and a good feel in the hands on both of them. Now we're going to take a look at River versus River. So I have two Opto Rivers that I'm going to throw here. Those of you who know my reviews, I always like to start off with like a 260-foot hyzer shot to get warmed up. And that's what I'm doing with these two pink Opto Rivers. And I tested the Opto Glimmer River and did not find that the Opto Glimmer River, at least, was more stable than the regular Opto. As you can see here, similar trajectory, just putting a whole bunch of hyzer on it, throwing it about 260 feet. And here we have the Stag, the 8-speed, which is going to be, has a fade of 2 instead of a fade of 1. And as you can see off the first one, it definitely fades over to the left pretty quick as it slows down. More quickly than the River. Here's a look at our spread. The two that were to the right of the basket were actually the Opto Glimmer Rivers, and then both of the Opto Rivers and the Stags were on the left of the basket. Here we are throwing hyzer release at about 320 feet to the edge of those woods, just trying to put some power behind it and get the edge up. And you can see on this shot that Opto Glimmer River did straighten quite a bit. Here we have our Stags, and in general, the rest of the program here will be throwing the River first and then the Stags. That Stag got a big skip and is by the basket, and this one I got the edge up just a little bit more, and you can see the drawn out hyzer on that Stag, the dependable fade as it slows down. And there's our disc. The pink Stag got all the way to that basket, and the other Stag was off to the left. Now we're going to do some anhyzer releases. And as we did before, the River is going first. There was a very slight headwind, which probably helped promote this turnover. But if you do not have a forehand, the River is a very good disc to use for anhyzer shots or left to right shots. There you see the Stag. Also, very similar trajectory on the Anheuser release here. And then this Stag, with that extra stability and a little bit of extra height, got pretty close to that basket that I was shooting at, which you just saw. But definitely a nice line. These discs are definitely your point and shoot variety. For me, that's going to be anywhere from 280 to 320 feet. For other people, they might be able to throw it further. Here we're throwing off the T-pad. The basket in the distance is 380 feet away. And what we're doing is throwing it at about 90% here with a hyzer release and trying to straighten it and get it down the fairway. So these are fairway drivers and don't really have the stability to go full power, but they do. This is demonstrating how all of these discs will straighten with the right angle and fly straight for a pretty good amount of time. And those got out anywhere from like 290, I think. That last one was pretty short, and the other ones were up in that like 300 to 320-ish range, those two that you just saw right there. So my favorite type of shot to throw with the river is about 280 feet and a straight line. And that's what I wanted to demonstrate here. Very easy to get that. You just got to get some field work in. But definitely a very dependable and a very useful shot, barring that there's not a heavy headwind. Really good for a tailwind. And here you see the Stag on a very similar line. And you see that the Stag does fade at the end for that fade of 2, but it doesn't end up very far from the basket. These discs are excellent for beginner discs as well as experienced players, and they are definitely fun to throw. Make sure you check them out on Trilogy Talk. Trilogy Talk has stags, rivers, and all sorts of unique discs and exclusive apparel. That's it for now. Have a good one. See you next time.